content strategist, and she currently serves as the Senior Digital Content Strategy Manager at TELUS Health. And I know for a lot of us in our day-to-day lives, we maybe do like late night Google searches of health-related issues sometimes. I have a 2-year-old, so I do this too much. And so I see this obvious potential, as I'm sure we all do, for like, how can AI help with healthcare delivery? And so I'm really excited to hear what Lindsay has to say today about the intersection of AI and SEO and what this future will look like.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So yeah, I'm Lindsay. This is me somewhere over here, maybe. Well, I'm Lindsay. I've been with TELUS Health since 2022, where I'm now part of the brand digital and demand generation team for the employer solutions portfolio. I joined the team back in 2022, and when I first started, or just shortly after I started, TELUS Health announced its largest acquisition to date of LifeWorks. So I was joining a team of like truly the top-notch, most talented people that I've ever worked with in my career. And our job was to integrate this massive acquisition, which was an expanded portfolio, and it brought us globally for the first time too. So at that time, my role, and still today, my role was managing the SEO, how we're going to integrate the SEO strategy, and then sort out the architecture for our Canadian site, and simultaneously build out an architecture for our global site. So the global site was meant to, and our Canadian site was meant to, again, show us our expanded product portfolio and show us to the world for the first time. So all of my work all the time is user-centric, user-focused, user experience. That's what takes center stage, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. But I'm talking more tomorrow for those of you who will be at CMS Connect, so I'll be talking more about user experience and content strategy then. But today I'm talking, as Suzanne mentioned, about SEO and AI, and how and if and where my practice has shifted since it's taken center stage. There's a lot of acronyms. There's a lot of acronyms right now: SEO, GEO, AIO, AEO. I also have kids, so it sounds like a barnyard song to me, like I'm singing Old MacDonald in my head all day. So if you're starting to feel like you're being left behind, you're not the only one. If you're not using all of these in your daily practice, it's starting to feel like if I don't know the latest acronym or a new one comes out tomorrow, then I'm falling behind. But before I give you the idea that this is extensive, it probably most definitely is not. And even if it is today, it won't be tomorrow. So hang on, it's coming, more is coming. Today, though, I'm talking SEO. And I want to get us all started on the same page. So SEO and keywords, those are kind of used interchangeably or synonymously, but it's more than that, right? So keywords are an important part of your SEO practice. It helps with research and implementation. But a truly impactful SEO strategy is helping to inform everything from the structure of a website to the user experience again, and on down to its content. And that's really fundamentally why, if you want the Cliff Notes version of my talk, you shouldn't listen to anybody that tells you that SEO is dead or it's dying or it's not relevant anymore. Because as long as there are search engines, there's going to be need to optimize our sites for them. And there's going to be tools and tricks to help us get to those to that visibility level. Geo and SEO work together to deliver user-centric experiences, and they're both focused on, again, user needs. But the difference here is really how we're tracking and measuring the success of those two. So SEO is really talking about that visibility in SERPs, the search engine result pages, and Geo is really looking more at the how often we're showing up in AI-generated responses. Same here with AEO. This one's been around for a while. The idea is that folks want quick answers to questions, common questions that they might have. So if you're Googling a question about your 2-year-old, this is where you'd look to get those answers. And how this is, the focus here is really creating content that's going to show up in those quick answers. So pulling things like FAQs, short answers, or keyword matching. But in the end, all of these AEO, SEO, GEO, they're all kind of talking about the same thing. It's how we're optimizing our content for visibility. So I'm only calling them out here because, again, there's a lot of them, and so it's easy to think that there are these strict and exact rules that we need to follow to get us into that coveted top spot, especially right now, where AIO, AI overviews are often holding that top spot, right? So AI overviews are meant to kind of consolidate. They search the web, they consolidate and summarize all of the answers, and they to certain queries, not all of them. We'll get into that. And then they group them at the top of that search result page. Point of clarification here, I've also heard AIO being used as AI optimization, but I'm leaning into AI overviews here. I think there's enough acronyms being used for how to optimize for AI, but also just fundamentally, by its very existence, AI overviews right now they're changing the game. They're at the top of the search result pages. They're really one of the most significant changes to Google search in recent history. They were launched in 2024. Not too long ago. They were rolled out in the US first, and then later rolled out to other countries, and most of Europe only got access to them in March of this year. So it's definitely too early to judge the full impact, but it is gaining traction with users, and it's something to keep an eye on, of course. But like I said, they're pushing those organic results lower on the page. It's the first thing that folks are seeing at the top of their page results here, followed by people also ask, and then paid search, and then organic search. So just by its very existence, organic search is getting dropped further and further down the page. So it does require a little bit of extra effort on the part of users to get to those organic results. So I guess the question is, are the AI overviews it? Did that put the nail on the coffin of SEO? I've lost count of the number of times that I've heard this or something else along the lines of, everything is changing, quick, change everything, our website is out of date. SEO is dead, SEO is irrelevant, AI is taking over, you name it, it's nothing new. And even the queries aren't new. We've been asking this since basically, since we could see the start of trending, they've been being asked. This or something like it. Is SEO a thing? Does it have a future? Is it dead? And then I guess my version of fun, I don't know what you guys like to do on a Saturday night, but I was interested in trying to plot out the timing of these questions on the Google updates that were rolled out. And I mean, this is not a scientific study, it's just me, but it does show, I think, at least a correlation between the Google updates being rolled out, or just being rolled out, or about to be rolled out, and these questions being asked. It doesn't take into account like the weight of those updates. It doesn't take into account the relevance of the updates, because those core site updates are the ones that are the most significant. But if you're looking for a fun afternoon and this is your idea of fun, maybe it's a good blog post to do on your own. So this is all just kind of talking about, is SEO relevant? We know that it's not. And I'm going to get into more of the how the two intersect, and how I've changed my practice, if I've changed my practice, and how we're navigating the hype versus the reality here. In terms of discoverability, SEO is not a magic hat trick. It was, and will always be more of a turning the dial. It takes time to generate results. It's not the same as paid search. Paid search and organic search work closely together, so we're taking learnings from paid, applying it to organic, maximizing our impact, limiting spend. But again, like the SEO, in my opinion, is turning that dial slowly. So looking at our analytics, what in our content is performing as we expected it to perform, what isn't, and then turning that gauge to see how we can adapt our content to better perform over time. Google search, though, has been dominating the field since it was first launched in 1997. There's been a shift in the past 2 years. So this is from 2024 to 2025, but its market share has been declining slightly. And AI engines like ChatGPT are growing, but they still only account for about 0.25% of the overall search market share. And that's too small to even show up here. So it's kind of accounted for here in this other category. And that's important to note, but it's also important to note if you look up here at Google, way up here, if you track it back, it's not even the first time that Google has dipped below 90%. So while there's some panic in the maybe not in the room, but in the industry, this isn't the first time Google's seen that dip before, and it still outweighs the competition far and above. And that brings us to AI, because we are seeing, obviously, the use of AI tools that generate search traffic growing, and even with some fluctuation, ChatGPT or OpenAI there is the leader in the field. But again, this is still just looking at the comparison of different AI tools. And this other release that was a study that was released this year looks at these last 2 years of trends, right? So we're not jumping back into panic mode. we're seeing that even with ChatGPT's massive growth, it's still seeing about 26 times fewer daily visits than Google. So that means that these AI chatbots are growing, but search engines are still leading the pack in terms of daily user engagement. I don't know how many of you know John Mueller, but if you don't, you should. He's generally seen as this kind of all-knowing guru of Google search. He works for Google, of course. He's on LinkedIn. He was on Twitter. I don't know if he made the switch to X. Something to check out maybe if you're on X. But he's also active against blogs and just generally a great resource to follow. He doesn't think SEO is going anywhere. And I said, for me, generally even if he's saying this, even if he's saying that SEO is not going to become obsolete, the best way to ensure that we're staying visible is to optimize our content and optimize our websites by remembering that we're talking to real people and not search engines. So all of our content should always be, all the time, speaking to real people, no exceptions. These algorithms are changing. They're always going to be changing. They've been changing since it was launched. They'll change again tomorrow. Their job is to bring the most relevant content to their users. And so our job as marketers and our job as digital content creators is to make sure that our content is clear, accurate, well-targeted, and relevant to the right users. And we do that by making sure that the information on our page tells users what the page is about quickly, obviously, upfront, so that as soon as they get to the page, they know that they're on the right page. They're there to get the information that they were looking for, and the information that they're looking for is coming from us. Because it doesn't really matter how many page views we get. For those in the back, doesn't matter how many page views we get, because if it's not being viewed by the right people, who are our people, our target audiences, we're not going to see the conversions that we're looking for. So those are who we want coming to our site, reading our content, interacting with our content, and then we can help move them up that marketing funnel. And here's how Google is still working. Google is like other search engines. It's crawling the internet, looking at all of the different pages, all of the content that's on all of these pages, sorting them, organizing them based on those keywords that they're crawling, engagement levels, and the user experience on the site. So things like how's your architecture looking, what's the page speed, all of those other important pieces, and then they're using that to rank the content and serve the best results to their users. So when they're ranking their content, they're using all of those pieces, those keywords. They're also using, user behavior. So where are they from? What kind of content have they interacted with in the past? What have they clicked on? What emails have they read? It's gathering all of that into different information and serving it to their users. And we're all looking for that secret sauce, right? We're looking for what's going to get us to that top of the algorithm. But I said before that the algorithms are changing, and they're changing because people are trying to trick the algorithms. So the algorithms are shifting to adjust to folks that are putting bad content into the search engines. Keyword stuffing was a thing in the past. It's not anymore because folks felt like they were getting spammed, right? So when you're putting those fake keywords into stuffing those keywords into the content, because consumers are getting to a page and it's not the page that they're looking for, right? So it's a good thing that the algorithms are shifting. It's sorting out the people that we don't want on our pages. It's bringing the right people to the pages. Consumers don't want the bad content. We don't want the consumers that don't want our stuff. So as I go through here, even Google themselves said that there's not even a top way to get to there's no special changes that we need to make to get into those AI features, but instead we're focusing on following those SEO best practices, creating user-centric content, and diversifying our strategy to make sure that we're ranking the right content for the right people. There never was, never will be, today, tomorrow, or yesterday, one way to get into the top rankings, even with AI. So SEO is not dead, AI is not taking over, but yes, the game has changed. Search isn't the same. It's not going to be the same tomorrow either. So the best way to make sure that we're getting to those top spots in the search results is, again, to be making sure that we're talking to real people and not search engines. And that means that we're going back to the fundamentals. So the fundamentals are the same. We're looking at the basics. We're reviewing everything that we've already built, right? We have to make sure that everything is as optimized as possible and make sure that we're speaking to our target audience. We got to make sure that our content is formatted in a way that's easy to read for humans and that's easy to read for machines. And then making sure, again, that our content is user-centric and solution-focused. Because if our site isn't optimized, and if it wasn't optimized before for SEO, and it's not optimized today for the SEO basics, then it's not going to pass that AI sniff test. And if you've double and triple checked every single thing on this list, and it's not an exhaustive list, but we can go through an exhaustive list, or we can talk about what that would look like. If you double, triple checked everything, and you think everything is working perfectly, I promise something's not. Go back to your analytics, check it again. Something's not working, something's not performing where you want it to be performing. So go back and turn that dial. And that's what we're doing at TELUS Health. So I mentioned at the start that I joined the team in 2022, that we launched a global site. We launched the site in 2024, in February of 2024. We rolled out a few updates. I'm not sure if I can get to the site here from the other computer. But if you go to our website, we launched a beautiful site. We launched a beautiful site that was ready for our users. We rolled out to different regions. It was a huge lift, a huge landmark for our teams. And it's been successful in terms of the key goals that we had at the time. We wanted to build a site that was employer-focused, had an employer-first navigation, but that was adaptable to include other audiences as well. We have other audiences in other regions, colleges and universities, doctors in the Netherlands. We wanted to make sure that our navigation was adaptable to include those folks in the site as well. Our site needed to be customized and personalized to those regions to support the different products and adaptive messaging that we had in those regions. And we wanted to make sure that our Canadian audiences who are going to a different domain, still on telus.com/health, didn't get lost if they landed on our new domain, telushealth.com. So again, by those measurements, our site was super successful. But guess what? Our strategy has shifted. I don't think I can get onto the site, but our strategy has shifted, and our positioning has shifted, and all that is to say that we're getting ready to shift as well. So we're leaning into that employer-first offering. We're listening to the feedback that we got from our existing and prospective clients. We're listening to the boots on the ground that we have in terms of our sales teams and the folks that are talking with our customers. And we're gearing up to make this shift on our website. So we're not rewriting the script. We're not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. We're not redoing the whole thing. We're listening to what worked. We did some personalization on the website. We've got personalized imagery for different regions. All of that is working, but we're adapting our content. We're turning that gear a little bit. And we're leaning into that personalized messaging. We're leaning into personalized groupings. What are we offering that's different in each region? How are we leaning into that more localized feel in the different areas that we're launching in? So we've expanded again our global reach. We've had a few more acquisitions since 2022 with LifeWorks. So we're launching new regions, new languages, new product portfolios in different regions as well. And in terms of SEO, this is what we're doing. This is our checklist. We're leaning into these best practices to help us get to the next step and the next evolution of our website. And so as long as there, wrong page. As long as there are search engines, there'll be a need for SEO. SEO is not going anywhere, so if you don't have an SEO playbook, it's time to get one. Your SEO teams that you have in place, those are the best folks to lean into, to talk to. They're going to be the ones that are going to be able to guide you through this next evolution in search and the latest updates in the world of search. Again, we're preparing user-centric content for human audiences. We're keeping search and AI in mind, but we're not changing the game here. And we're planning and creating content for real people, focusing on their pain points and how we're solving those pain points for them, because optimized content is user-centric and solution-based. Again, AI isn't going away. Its impact is real, its impact is significant, and it is impacting the world of search. But it's not changing the game entirely. So as marketers, we're on the front lines, right? We're power users. We're seeing the shift in the world of search. We're seeing the shift in the world around us using AI. So I just want to caution us to use it, learn the tools, but use it appropriately and use it responsibly. Because if we start leaning too far into AI and creating and launching articles that were written by chatbots or written by ChatGPT or other AI tools, that's going to become the equivalent of keyword stuffing in the future. So we're living in the time where we can have a positive impact or a negative impact on our websites today. And then just from an environmental perspective too, we also hear the impact that AI is having on carbon emissions, on electronic waste, and. So it is an important tool for us to use. But again, as power users, we should be using it responsibly in our day-to-day lives and at work. So I guess the message is play fun, have fun, play responsibly. And then, with great power comes great responsibility again. So choose your favorite choose your favorite tool, run with it, have fun with it, but make sure that you're doing it responsibly. I have a time left for questions. Try to speed through that really quickly. Go ahead.
I liked how you explained the acronyms at the beginning. Thank you. And when you said GEO, you were just saying that there's a different way of measuring. Are there tools we can use to measure this traffic this lack of traffic, like people using the overviews and the AI to get answers to questions?
I think they're still coming out with those tools. I think that it's something to keep an eye on it's something to keep an eye on. I don't think that there's one tool that we're using to measure the AI. You can see it in Google Analytics. You can see it in your regular tools, like where are you showing up in search. But I guess it's important. It is important to measure. But the takeaway that I would take from that is that if you're optimizing your site, using user-centric content, you're optimizing your site using the headers and the accessibility. Anybody that was in the talk before us, we're optimizing for users, or how are users expecting to see their content. Whether you're showing up in those chatbots or not, I think the important bit is that you're looking at your content and analyzing it. So, are you showing up in the top of the SERP pages? It depends on where you're coming from. It depends on what you're looking at. But I guess there's not. I don't know. I guess there's tools to measure it, but I wouldn't lean too heavily into. I wouldn't lean too heavily into them right now. Like they're still being shaken out. Other questions? Well, I'm around if anybody has questions later. Happy to chat.